Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night's rather later than usually billed episode of the State of Scottish Football. I'm Greg Playfair. It's a new month and it's a new approach for us here, as for the first time this year we're bringing you not one, not two, but three shows tonight, as we bring you the build-up, the half-time and the full-time reaction to the 5 games in tonight's Scottish Premiership, although we'll probably focus towards 2. This team and the ground where Dave's at. With the January transfer window shutting last night, I was able to sign a hat trick of panelists for just under 2 of our content tonight. Please welcome first a man who's hoping Hearts save out some capital punishment at Easter Road. It's Graham.
Oh, please let that be true. Delighted to be on, boys. Looking forward to
this. Next up, we have a man who's prone to getting his fishing rod out for a few bites. He's been doing so before we went live. It's Michael.
All right, guys. How are you? I'm happy to be here and brilliant nights, brilliant games of football ahead tonight and tomorrow night. So that'll be good.
And lastly, we have a man who now seems to be compelling a showreel from all around the grounds in Scotland to send into Soccer Saturday. It's Dave.
Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you're well. And a thrilling night of action awaits. But no, fantastic to be on.
Good to have you on. And just for those that don't know the background, Dave is at Dens Park. We're expecting a live pie drop-off to Dave at some point. So we'll actually get a live pie test as well. Oh, he's got it there. So don't be shy. Show us your pie. And he's done so there. So thanking you. As always, we're live on all the various platforms, so please do get involved by commenting, and we'll do our best to respond and react throughout the next hour to all the comments that we're able to read out. Of course, please keep it keen. So coming up first thing, we're going to talk around the Edinburgh derby. So instead around capital punishment, Graham, will come to you first. What are you expecting tonight in the Edinburgh derby?
Do you know what? I'm actually expecting a tough game. I know going into this Hearts are the form side, but when it comes to derby games, that goes out the window. I'm expecting Hibs to be up for this. I really hope that Hearts don't sit back and they actually have a goal tonight. I think it'll be a tough game, but I think Hearts will maybe just sneak this. But again, we have to come in and have a go right for the start. We cannot sit back. Hibs are vulnerable, so I think it's one of these games that Hearts have to go and have a go. But I'm looking forward to this. I'm buzzing for it. I have been all day. So, yeah, bring it on. Can't wait.
Perfect. Michael, coming to yourself, obviously, Edinburgh derby. It's not the derby you're looking forward to most this week, I know, but what are you expecting tonight?
I'm looking forward to the game. Another game on Sky, so that's a bonus. But yeah, I'm a bit like Graham. I'm looking forward to this one. I've seen Hearts a few times in the past couple of weeks, playing well. They've got a good spine in their team now. From like the other side of Edinburgh, Hibs are looking a bit shaky at the moment, especially getting beat, winning at the weekend, but also at the end of the day, losing the 3 points. I saw them in the cup tie a few weeks ago in the Scottish Cup. They were very lucky to get through that one as well. So, but as you know, Craig, form really goes out the window when it comes to derbies. But I think Hearts will go sneak this one.
Yeah, Hearts will sneak this one. Graham, you just messaged me to say team news is out. Are you going to give us an exclusive?
Yeah, I can tell you that John Souttar is not in the Hearts team today. He's missing out with an injury. I had it on my phone about 2 seconds ago. Give me a second. It's here.
I think I've got it as well. So, Craig Gordon in goals. You've got Kingsley, Beningame, Boyce, Atkinson, Devlin, Moore, Halliday, Mackay, Sims, and Sibic. So, kind of looks like Hearts are kind of playing from the formation from the weekend there with Sims and Boyce up top, although Boyce might be a bit more kind of playing on the wing again. Mackay coming in there as well, probably, and a kind of almost like a 4-3-3, or sorry, 3-4-3 with obviously Sibic replacing Souttar. Graham, what's your thoughts on that?
A couple of weeks ago, I wanted John Souttar to leave, but the last couple of games have actually been quite good. So I'm disappointed he's actually missing tonight. other than that, it's kind of the team that I thought it might be. I'm delighted to see that Ellis Sims is playing because I think the last couple of games he's been excellent. Really pleased that Barry Mackay and Liam Boyce are obviously up front as well. It's a very, very strong team. My only concern today was the fact that we potentially had 8 players starting at Easter Road for the first time in a derby game. That kind of did concern me a little bit. I'm hoping that they don't play the occasion, but they play the game. I think in terms of like Cammy Devlin, we know what he's like. He's a Tasmanian devil. He doesn't stop. I can see him getting booked very early in the game because that's the kind of player he is. I hope he calms down. But I think looking at the two teams on paper, I think there's absolutely no doubt for me that on paper Hearts win this game. But the game they played on paper, this is a tough game. I think Maloney, after the defeat to Livingston, he'll lift them up for this. So I'm expecting a very, very difficult game. But if Hearts play the way I know they can, I think we will win this. But again, it's such a tight game to call because I do expect Hibs to come out flying in this game. And I think first goal could be crucial. If Hearts get it, it could be a difficult night for Hibs. If Hibs get it, they've got something to build on. So I think looking at the team news, I'm pleased with it. I just hope that, as I say, Hearts play the game and not the occasion.
Yeah, and you're talking about Hibs team news. Dave, I'm going to come to you next. I believe you've got the team news, and I believe there's a bit of a surprising starter in Hibs lineup, certainly at least one.
Yep, the Hibs lineup is as follows: Dabrowski, Porteous, Rocky, Stevenson, Carden, JDH. I don't know who that stands for, but
Doyle Hayes, Jake Doyle Hayes.
Newell. Right, beg your pardon, Doyle Hayes. Sorry for that. Joe Newell, Josh Doig, Miller, Nisbet, and Deutsch. The bench for Hibs is Mitchell, David Mitchell, goalkeeper, not Mitchell off a peep show. Wright, Mitchell, Jasper, Allen, McGregor, Scott, Campbell, and Henderson.
Mike, upon hearing that, what's your thoughts of that Hibs lineup?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a very kind of like strong kind of team. You know why they've got Porteous in the team to get that big first tackle out of the way, and you know stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about the game today, and Hibs got off to a very good start under Maloney. 2 or 3 games, and then obviously it's kind of like back to business, as it were, because they're not really picking up the results and also the performances as well. But yeah, I mean, you can't really tell in kind of derby games, high-profile games as well, and plus the TV cameras are going to be there as well, so it's going to make a very interesting game. And I said this to Graham after the last derby. I know this might be a silly comment what I'm going to say, but hey ho, I'll say it anyway. But the last Edinburgh derby was 0-0, but I actually quite enjoyed that game. Actually, it was quite kind of entertaining. I think it was a game of 2 halves between the 2 goalkeepers, but hopefully for some goals tonight.
Yeah, it's a good segue there in terms of the goalkeepers. Craig Gordon was in goals that night for Hearts. He's again tonight. It's Dabrowski in goals for Hibs. Dave, coming to you, how big a night is this for Kevin Dabrowski? Or should I call you, as in the comments, Don Carleone in the shadows there looking like a godfather at Dens Park?
Sorry. Yeah, no, in terms of the team lines, I mean, for Hibs, strong team, obviously. No Martin Boyle, so I'm interested to see how they adapt to that. Obviously, they played on Saturday, got a pretty sore defeat from their expense at home to Livingston, which was a sore one for everybody connected to that football club. Tonight, it's an opportunity to make avenge, obviously, from Saturday. Not the way to do it, obviously, we're winning the Edinburgh derby, but we're up against a Hearts side that are always strong, and it won't be heavy favourites going at this game tonight.
Yeah, and you kind of lead me on this in terms of heavy favourites. Graham, coming to you. In the build-up to this game, Sean Maloney has drafted in Hibs legends Pat Stanton and Paul Kane to the Hibs training ground to inspire the team to victory. What's your take on that? I've got my own opinion, but I'm keen to come to you first as another Hearts fan.
I mean, you've got to give the guy respect. You know, he's obviously thinking that these guys are going to help. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I hope it doesn't. Obviously for me, but he's got to do what he thinks is right. If he thinks that experience is going to help him, then fair enough. But it's what happens on the pitch. You know, these guys can say whatever they want, but it's what happens on that pitch. And I think for me, the biggest thing tonight will be that midfield battle. I think if Cammy Devlin and Benjamin Ingame can win that midfield battle, I think Hearts will come out on top. But if Hibs can win it, I think they could, you know, I think Kevin Nisbet has been disappointing for Hibs this season, but if they can provide him chances, he's still a massive threat. I just think I've been thinking about this game like all day when I've been at work, just buzzing for it all day. I wish I was there, but I'm delighted to be with you guys. I just think this game is so hard to call because, as I said already, you can have a clear favourite. That means nothing in a derby game. This game is who wants it most and who wins the battle. Obviously, hope it's Hearts. But, you know, if Paul Kane and that can help Hibs, then fair enough.
Yeah, my take on it is I think it's quite weak, though, as a manager kind of under pressure who maybe feeling that he can't motivate his players. His assistant manager as an ex-Hibs player who's been involved there, he's also been involved with Celtic. I know Mike's nodding his head there. He'll have fond memories, if maybe that's a stretch, Gary Caldwell at Celtic. But surely, you know, dragging out kind of these guys for the day of the derby, it kind of adds a bit of pressure. I know before the match as well, they've got Mixu Patalainen just waving to the fans before the game. They've also got a live singer doing the Hibs Heroes live. They're making it a really, really grandiose occasion, which, yeah, I find quite funny. Dabrowski as well, kind of improving at this level. I know he saved a penalty pre-season against Arsenal, against, I don't know, an Arsenal under-23 striker or something. I can't remember, or it might have been Nicolas Pepe. I can't remember who it was, but it was certainly a penalty save. And then since then, he's kind of been in cold storage, so it'll be a big night for him. But for me, I think having Nisbet and Doyce up front together is a big boost. I think if I was Sean Maloney, you'd be looking at Sibbick and Kingsley as well, being in that back line where you think you could maybe target them in terms of a bit of physicality. But we'll wait and see. Mike, coming to yourself, who do you think could be a key player for Hearts Hibs tonight?
Can I just answer the point that you make about Sean Maloney, about Pat Stanton coming to the training ground? I actually watched that interview an hour ago, and obviously he's trying everything as well, but as you guys know, as soon as you cross that white line, it's up to the 11 men on the park. Pat Stanton's not going to pull a Hibs jersey on and score a winning goal for Hibs tonight, you know. So, I mean, you can pull anything out the kind of money tree or whatever, but it's up to the 11 men that crosses the white line. You can bring like 11 brilliant football players to training, and that's brilliant. But it's what you do in a match day. It's totally different to what you see in training. As far as back to the question that you asked me about Hearts, I mean, I think that there's not a one man stands out for Hearts. I think they're a very good team. They showed that against Celtic, certainly the second half last week at Tynecastle as well. You know, that they've got a good, as I say, a good spine and a good kind of like goalkeeper Gordon as well. But yeah, I mean, I know that you want me to say Hearts will win easy, but it will be a very kind of like tight game. But we're all saying that, but when we come back at half time, it might be 2-0 to Hibs. Sorry, Graham and Craig for as well. But yeah, it's going to be a very entertaining game. I think the first tackle always sets the pace for these kind of games as well. So yeah, it's going to be a very entertaining game, especially away from Tynecastle as well, and see how Hearts kind of like copes with the pressure.
Yeah. Dave, I'll need to come to you. There has been some worrying comments put here around James McPake's safety. People are wondering if you're going to order a hit on him. People are going to wonder, is there anyone in Dens Park going to have to wake up a horse's head in their bed? So can you reassure the viewers that James McPake will at least make kickoff? Oh, too busy doing a hit. That's fine. Sorry, James. Sorry.
He's actually speaking to him now, Craig.
Yeah, no, it's a guy from Dundee United, which will just tell me right now there's a press conference tomorrow, so I thank you very much for that. But no, it's absolutely fine. But no, I can qualify James McPake is absolutely fine. Whether he'll be fine during the game, we don't know about that. But no, apart from that, we're absolutely fine. And here's hoping for the following derby tonight, yes.
Yeah, well, I'll come back to you, Graham, because obviously he is ordering hits here. I don't know whether that pie was satisfactory. Obviously, there's whole lots of permutations here for Dave at this Dens Park today. But in terms of yourself, obviously, Mike wouldn't get drawn into a player that he thinks could make the difference for either side. I'll ask you for a Jambo's persuasion then. What player do you think, or players do you think, could be the match winners on the night?
Well, I think clearly you've got to look at Liam Boyce. As long as he's not on penalties, that's fine. Keep him away for penalties, I don't mind. But I think the other one for me, I think the standout for me tonight is probably going to be Barry Mackay. Since he's come to Hearts, I've been a massive fan of him. He's so creative. He's actually quicker than I thought he was. He's always looking to try and find that killer pass. And he's not scored for Hearts yet, but he's come close a few times. I think tonight could be that first goal, but I think he's crucial. Easter Road's quite a big pitch, and if he can find that pass to, someone like Boyce or even the runner Ellis Sims, I think he could be crucial. Again, you've got to be looking at Craig Gordon. This guy can pull off saves that nobody else in the country could make. He's just that good. But I think for me, it's Barry Mackay. I just think this guy is absolute quality. And as I say, if he can find that pass, I think he could be a massive threat tonight.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the comments. Scott, how we're usually good friends when we have these episodes, but you've offended me twice with good luck Hibs and Boyce takes a lovely penalty. Liam Boyce certainly has got 5 from 8 this season, so yeah, it's almost 3 out of 8. We're hoping he's not in penalty taking duties. I'll ask another man then in terms of. Coming back to, in fact, I'll ask Mike this. I want to see Mike's face. A man who impressed at the weekend was Andy Halliday. Mike, he's playing left wing back tonight. He'll be up against the new boy Muller, who they've signed from obviously MLS. How do you see that matchup going?
Yeah,
how do you want it to go? More to the point.
I noticed how you never asked Graham that question before me, so thanks very much. Your Christmas card gets not in the post. He's got to go at the weekend, didn't he? As well. I don't know if I want to say that he's kind of like past it or his best years are behind him. He might shut me up tonight with a wonderful goal or a few goals, but no, I guess feel as though that it's maybe like. Maybe a waste of a jersey. Before any Hearts fans say that, yeah, I did say that, and I'm very sorry for saying that. But yeah, I just feel as though Hearts has got better teams in the squad at this moment in time, especially going away from home in a big game.
Yeah, I think one thing, obviously, in terms of saying they may have better options. I know Cochrane, obviously, he was kind of playing left back. He's been dropped. I'll try and get the subs for Hearts just now, actually, as well, just in case there's any going to be difference makers there. But the Hearts subs are Stewart, Haring, McInnes, Ben Woodburn, Gary Mackay-Stephen, Force XL, Cochrane, Ewan Henderson, Josh Nelly, and Finlay Pollock. So we'll have score predictions for this. Dave, how do you see the match going?
I fancy 2-0 Hearts tonight at Easter Road. I'm going to go 2-0 Hearts.
2-0 Hearts, as I said, he's a man who's in demand just now. So I'll come to yourself, Mike. I'll let Graham stew over it. How do you see the match going?
Yeah, Yeah, I would fancy a kind of away win just because I've kind of built it up to be, Hibs is on a shaky peg at the moment. So I'll go for to get you back in my good books, Craig. I'll go 2-1 Hearts.
2-1 Hearts. Oh, there's a lot of optimism for Hearts. Graham, usually when you're a Hearts fan and going into Derby days, they say form doesn't necessarily count. What's your views? How are you feeling?
Oh, if Hearts play the way that I think they can, then I think 6-0 Hearts. I'm joking. I'm going to go. I hope there's no Hibs fans listening to this. I'm going to go 2-1 Hearts. I think it'll be tight. But I think Hearts might just sneak this. I think it'll be a lot tougher than a lot of folk maybe expect. But I think 2-1 Hearts.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of scoreline I was going for as well. Make it a hat trick at 2-1. I'll be honest, I think Hibs have to come out attacking. Obviously, we've seen that he is going with Nisbet, Doidge, and Muller. So I'm interested to see if Muller will kind of play in the middle, drifting out to the right, or whether it kind of stays wide right. Because as we were saying there earlier, Mike, I think if you've got Muller's pace against Halliday, because Muller's seemingly a real pace merchant, that could prove fruitful for Hibs. I think on the left-hand side, Josh Doig will be in a really interesting battle against Nathaniel Atkinson. Again, it was mentioned at the top, a lot of Hearts players are making their Edinburgh Derby debut, so that could prove fruitful down the left-hand side. I know there's been a lot of supporters from Maroon and Green persuasions that haven't necessarily felt Josh Doig has hit the heights of last season. I think that's understandable. There's always that second season syndrome. I think he can be a good outlet for Hibs tonight, but I do feel Hearts up front with Mackay, Sims and Boyce will make the difference. I think Beningame as well. I think the second half against Celtic when he came on, I think kind of his introduction along with Hatate that game kind of tiring, and Seymour O'Reilly. I think that kind of there's a bit of both there in terms of tiredness, but I think Beningame help Hearts get in the game. I think if he's able to, take the game by the scruff of the neck, I think Hearts could start well. But I will go 2-1. But as I said, we will catch up at half time and full time to see how right or how wrong we are. Next, we will go to Dens Park since Dave is there. Dave, have you got any team news for either side yet? I know you're ordering hits, you're ordering pies. I don't know if you got any news for us.
Yeah, I'm a man in demand tonight, and apologies if you can't hear me because the music is a bit loud here. But the Dundee team lineup for tonight is Livingston, Carrie Kerr, Liam Fontaine, Ryan Sweeney, Sean Barron, Danny Mullen, McMullen. There's a first start for, let me get this right, Daley Campbell, the guy right back just joined Dundee all the way from Leicester. Max Anderson, Charlie Adam plays his first Dundee derby, and now McGinn just to complete the lineup. The bench for Dundee is Waller, McGee, McDade, Chapman, Mulligan, Elliott, McCowan, Robertson, and Rudden. Zach Rudden, of course, on the bench, fresh from completing a loan move initially from Partick Thistle, which will turn to be permanent. But, gentlemen, anybody can start. What are you thinking about this Dundee side? And then I'll go into Dundee United in just a short minute.
I think they be as well too. This is the business end of the season, Dave, and we know that Dundee's kind of like struggling to get results and performances. But I would just go as far as to say I think the performances takes a back seat when as you get the 3 points at the end of the day, and this is a good way to get the fans on side for winning a big game, especially across the road. I was going to say, well, they are at home, but only a couple of meters away. So yeah, I mean, but that's what I think about it. So as I think I missed a sub there, David. Dave, is Griffiths a sub or is it Grob altogether?
Well, this is a whole can of worms regarding Griffiths. Right, so just to give you a wee explanation here. Wade Griffiths was a free agent as of yesterday. Wade Griffiths has not signed a contract. Wade Griffiths is looking at other options, meaning Wade Griffiths is in his house right now, having a cup of tea and a steak pie, wondering how the football's going to evolve tonight. But he's definitely not in the city of discovery.
So he couldn't be registered. Is that the reason? Just because of how the contract ended and started? Is that how he's not in?
No, basically, I'm led to believe he's looking at other options, Greg. So basically, the ball's in his court regarding signing for Dundee, but with regards to Wade Griffiths, he hasn't made his decision yet. He's looking at other options, and he hasn't made a decision. Of course, you can always play as a trialist, but he hasn't went down that route. And Wade Griffiths is currently sat by the fire pit, enjoying a cup of tea and a steak pie right now, I'm assuming.
I always go back to that point that I made a few weeks ago on the show. This is the same man that scored against England 2 years ago, 2 cracking free kicks. And, out of that, you're going to say, right, okay, he's got the knuckle down and kick on now. And look at him now. Nobody's going to touch him or, whatever. So it's right side. And no disrespect to any Dundee fans or whatever, but and I've said this before, that if you can't make it Dundee, God help you going forward in your football career. And he scored 2 goals already for Dundee. So, but yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, so for me as well, I kind of draw. I know Lee Griffiths is kind of from the same area as me. He's not too dissimilar in ages as well, and I think you're right, Mike. In terms of those 2 goals against England, it's probably one of the, up until the last couple of years, one of the best highs ever in a lifetime, in 20 years or so supporting Scotland. They were fantastic, and you think in terms of, obviously he's had off the field troubles as well to seek. You just think it's a real shame in terms of, I think last week when he was playing, I said on last week's show, his kind of physique as well wasn't what you'd expect from a player, playing in the top flight in Scottish football. You kind of hope that, he doesn't peter out and he kind of drops down leagues or whatever. So be interested to see what happens. But I think tonight, Danny Mullen's a player I like a lot, and he's someone I think who can, with the competition coming in from Zach Rudden, I think Rudden's had a good half a season in the Championship so far as well, following up to his League One exploits as well. He's someone who, again, will probably drive Mullen to do better, but interesting as well with McGinn and McMullen on the wings for Dundee. Not convinced McGinn's got the pace anymore, so I think looking at the team as well, it looks maybe to be a slow team for Dundee. I don't know what this Daily Campbell's like, but you've got McGinn in the middle, Sean Burns not mobile, Fontaine, Sweeney. It looks like Cammy Kerr at left back. Don't know. I'm not too sure. Graham, what are you thinking?
I'm interested to see how Niall McGinn does. I've always been a massive fan of him. I think he's a very good player. But as you said, it's not a very quick Dundee side. I have been a massive fan of Paul McMullen for a while. I think he's got such terrific ability and he's got that pace. I don't know where Dundee are going to get goals from. I think they might be looking for set pieces from Charlie Adam, because that's the only way I can see them score it tonight. But I think, again, this is another tight game. I would probably say that I think, home advantage might not count, but I think Dundee might just sneak this. But I'm really interested to see how Nabagin does, because, we all know how good a player he is, but is it going to have that effect at Dundee? We'll wait and see. But this is another difficult game to call, I think.
Yeah. Dave, do you have the Dundee United team news?
Yeah, I was just on my way. You guys were on the engine, so I decided to go and wait. United, Siegrist, McNulty, Clark, Edwards, Butcher, Levitt, Freeman, Harks, Graham, Watt, and McMahon. Ryan Edwards returns to the defence. Congratulations to Ryan Edwards. He's just become a dad on Sunday, so congratulations to Ryan Edwards on the birth of his child. Ross Graham makes his start in a Dundee United jersey, and it's the Dundee derby, believe it or not, so congratulations to him. McNulty, Clark, and Tony Watt would lead the line. What looked like being a free up top for United. So United definitely going for it and showing a bit of intent from the one goal tonight.
Mike, what's your thoughts on that lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to come in and say that I saw Dundee United against Saturday at Celtic Park, and I thought they were not outstanding, but they kind of like defended the game well. The game management. In fact, they only made one mistake, and that was a bad as goal. I thought at the end of the game, but you know that's twice I've seen Dundee. Well, yeah, twice, including Ibrox that I saw them this season as well. And I don't know if you guys would agree that when they go to Tynecastle or whatever, they don't sit behind the ball. They don't park about 10 buses. They come and have a go, because usually what you find is when teams like that sit behind the ball, it's a bit stuffy and a bit boring. But Dundee United do not do that. They've had a very up and down season, I would say, under Thomas, whatever it's called today. But you know, like I saw them against Rangers at not Tynecastle, Carragais, the first game of Miska Courts. We'll see his first game of the season, and they won that one. They played well, and they ended up getting up 3 points as well. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was expecting a bit more of a Dundee United kind of like this season, but so far it's kind of like up and down. And I actually quite enjoyed the game on Saturday. It was quite kind of like open as well. So yeah, but yeah, I might sneak out a United win here.
United win. A man that will probably be key to that is Benjamin Siegrist. For me, I think he's someone who Dundee United have done well holding on to him, and a few of the commenters as well have said that he's a player that would take it. Their club, Celtic, Aberdeen, are fans that would like him. I think he could be a real sort of proven match winner today. Dave, are you at the rave? Everyone's commenting here. The music pumping in the background. You about to see something, Dave?
Yeah, I'll do my pie taste. I'll give it a try. Cheers, lads. Good man. 8.5. 8.5.
Is this the new cheese and wine party? It's raving a pie. Is this what we do up at Dundee?
Correct.
Ronnie, you don't have any birthday cake. I think you'll be fine.
Coming to yourself, Graham. We'll let Dave enjoy his pie. He's earned it. What do you think? And obviously they're going with McNulty and Clark. Obviously, in fact, and Tony Watt. Quite an attacking lineup in terms of attackers.
I'm starving now. Thanks, Dave. No, I think it's a very, very bold move to go with three up front away from home. He's in the half. No, it's a bold move from United. I really like Thomas Coates. I think he's a very good manager. I know they have struggled recently, but I think if they can get a result tonight, that's massive. I think, you know what Michael talked about there about United. You know, I watched them when they came to Tynecastle. It was 5-2, but that could have finished anything. You know, United never set up to sit back. They went and had a go. That could have easily finished 8-all, 10-9, whatever. They were a very, very good side. So I think Tony Watt's going to add an extra dimension to Motherwell. Dundee United. I think it's a very good signing for them, and I think if they can get that front three to gel, that could be a massive night for them. I mean, you know, Nicky Clark scored 2 goals last week, and I think he's coming out to form at the right time. I've always really liked Mark McNulty. I think, again, he's a very, very good player. So, massive respect tonight. If we go 3 up front, that's a massive and bold move. And if it comes off, you know, Thomas Coates, Mr. Coates, Tam, whatever you want to call him, it'll be a genius.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of this, obviously, regular viewers will be thinking, what's this kind of long-standing joke about Tam Courts, Thomas, Tommy, whatever, Tammy, we want to call him. But yeah, it's we've called him every name under the sun. I'm sure you've all had you got your own views on him as well. But for me as well, probably an interesting addition here is young Ross Graham, who came on at Celtic Park, making his Dundee United debut. Might you'd have seen that. He's coming off the back of a half season where he played for Dunfermline under Peter Grant, and he was lampooned for Dunfermline's poor form. Obviously finished at the bottom of the table before Peter Grant got sacked by Dunfermline. But in terms of this, as a young player, obviously you've seen many people, many players make their debut for Celtic. How do you think the young man will cope, Mike, in terms of making his debut full debut in a Dundee derby?
I think it will either make him or break him. We've seen it in the past. Not only with younger players, but we kind of like senior players. You would say older players. You would say, but yeah, I mean, it's one of these nights, isn't it? That his name would be up in lights for scoring the winning goal or just having an all round good game, But I mean, the bottom line is, you always like to see good young players coming through, and hopefully that they'll stay in Scotland and make a name for themselves, But it'll be interesting to see how he plays tonight.
Yeah, definitely. A few comments around Dave's pie. Again, Dave's probably way to enjoy that. We'll get the full update when he's back. Strangely, the Doctor, Dundee United are solid at the back and pretty slick moving in the final third. Tam Courts is doing really well with them, which, again, I'd probably agree with. One player that also joined Dundee United on deadline day was Akinkola from Arsenal. And I'm going to ask you this, Graham. He said in an interview that he thought he was signing for Dundee. He didn't realise there was a Dundee United. As a supporter, would you take him and say, it's an easy mistake to make, or would you be against him?
No, boo, get him out now. No, I think, you know what, these things happen all the time. It's an easy mistake to make. It's just one of these things. But, whatever he does now, he'll probably be remembered for that now. But if he does well, then fair enough. But, I mean, I think you talk about young laddie there a minute ago, and young laddies, the thing I like about young laddies is they show no fear. It doesn't matter who they play for, who they play against. They just show no fear. They just go and, they go and show what they're capable of. And if this young laddie can do that, then he has a massive, massive future ahead of him. Look at Aaron Hickey. He's went to Bologna for decent money. The same thing could happen to this guy if he does well. So fair play. Hope he does well.
I was just going to say, Graham, at least he was in the right street, Dundee or Dundee United. He didn't have far to walk anyway, so that was good.
Yeah, if he got his taxi to the wrong stadium. In terms of score predictions, what we're thinking, Mike? What do you think the score will go?
Well, I will. I've got my crystal ball out there now as we speak, and I'm going 2-0 United.
2-0 United. Interesting. Coming to yourself, Graham, who are you thinking?
I did think of Holman earlier on, but having seen that United team and the fact they're going 3 up front, I actually think United will win this. I'm going to go 2-0 United.
2-0 United. I'm going to kind of stray away from this. As I said, as much as every time I've been on the show and I've talked Dundee down, Dundee have always surprised me. I think obviously the kind of 3 up top as well it's going to leave space in behind where obviously it looks like a sort of back 3 for Dundee United as well. That young lad Ross Graham playing there. Again, I'm just thinking back to his earlier season form. Then again, Dundee have got zero kind of pace. I think, as I said, we've only really got McMillan or McGinn, who again, I think somebody's commenting saying they think he's actually not too bad. But I just like that man, Danny Mullen, or a Charlie Adam free kick. So I'm going to go 1-1. 1-1.
I was just going to say, guys, at the beginning of the season, when they had, Charlie Adam, B. Griffiths, and a few other guys in the team, Yeah, Dundee's quite a good team this season, but as we all know, football's not being played on paper, and as you know, Dundee's, it's they've not kind of like picked up the points this season. But yeah, as some guys say, football's a fun old game.
It definitely is indeed. And speaking of funny old games, we'll all look at some other games now. So we'll all look at that funny old game which involves Ross County Aberdeen. So obviously at the weekend there, I know the guys last night touched on the result, probably one of the sort of bigger surprising results of the weekend, where it was Ross County 3, Rangers 3, and I know that'll bring some great delight to a lot of the viewers on just now. But they're up against Aberdeen tonight, and let me just see, I think I had the Ross County team, so we'll kind of run through that. In fact, Mike, it would be very, very harsh if I didn't ask you, did you enjoy that result from Dingwall on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, I don't know why you came to me first there, but yeah, it was a surprising one. When Rangers scored the goal on Saturday, I thought, like, okay, game over. But as I said 2 minutes ago, football's a fun little game, but it's a different game you get up there, isn't it? Because it's a very, very tight park as well. You don't know what team Ross County is going to turn up. They're always at the bottom of the season, but they managed to survive. So it was a useful point for Ross County at the weekend, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give you the Ross County team and I'll come to you then, Graham. So Laidlaw in goals. So it's not the Bernard Moore who was in obviously the weekend. It's Jake Voskins, Ross Callahan, Dominic Samuel, Keith Watson, I think, Alex Shakivite, Reagan Charles Cook, Ramsey, the goal scorer of the third, Tilson, Hungbo, and Jordan White. So again, probably we'll maybe start with the two men that kind of done well at the weekend there as well in terms of Ramsey, Charles Cook. Who do you think Ross Callahan played well? Who do you think will be the key players tonight for Ross County? What do you make of that lineup?
I think it's got to be Charles Cook, hasn't it? I think if you'd said to any football fan at the start of the season who would be the top scorer after 23 games in the league, not one person would have said Reagan Charles Cook for Ross County. He has had a sensational season. I think he's been absolutely fantastic, and I'm actually surprised that there maybe wasn't a bid for him yesterday in the transfer window. I think a bigger team would have come in for him, but that might happen in the summer. But fair play to Ross County, they've kept hold of him because he is such an important player for them. I think in terms of Ross County, I think, listen, Charles Cook is the main danger. And I think for me, if you're Aberdeen and the form they've been on, this is the last place you want to go. Aberdeen's last result, they obviously got the last game postponed, but the game before that against St Mirren, they've only won 2 away games all season. It's a poor record for a team like Aberdeen. So this is the last place you want to go against the Ross County side that is looking very, very good at home. So I think for Aberdeen, you've got to try and keep Charles Cook quiet, but trying to do that is next to impossible just now. I honestly fancy Ross County for this at the moment, just the way they're playing just now.
Yeah, definitely. And then picking up on Reagan Charles Cook as well. Again, I thought he was phenomenal. I think even after the match when he was interviewed, he was beaming as well. And I think as a Hearts fan, he was kind of talking about the top 3, including Hearts in the equation there. So maybe Hearts could kind of persuade them to come into the season. But I mean, in terms of, I'll quickly touch on it, but in terms of, coming off and kind of receiving that horrendous, and it really makes my blood boil in terms of the sort of racial abuse he's getting for simply going on and enjoying what should be probably the highlight of his career today and be faced with that as well. I hope tonight that he goes on and just kind of really shows his talents on the pitch and kind of just really shoves up these absolute cretins and mindless idiots as well that are doing that. So, I mean, I know we've got we've got 5 Aberdeen sort of mind, or 4 or 5 Aberdeen guys on involved in the state of Scottish football. I'm sorry to say that I will be supporting Ross County tonight for that reason. I think the fans are kind of organising a clap in the 17th minute as well, which will support with him. So I'm really hoping that by that point he has a really good game. Sorry, Mike, you about to say something?
No, I was just because without me going on a big rant about this, what else do we have to do in Scottish football and society obviously we take the knee before the game, and I've noticed as well that in the last couple of weeks, not all the Scottish teams take the knee now as well. So what else do we have to do in that? Regan Charles Cook was only doing a job for his team. You know, he was sent out to score goals. So, yeah, without going in too much of a deep hole about this, but, you know, it's good shocking how it just keeps continuing and nothing gets done about it.
Yeah, and as I said, I think in terms of this, that, you know, I'd make social media that you have to sign it with a, you know, identification, passport, trace it back sort of thing, be kind of over the age of 18 as well, I think, as well, for kind of social media. And, you know, it's usually, you know, you get all these people that are, you know, I don't know, say it was like a football team, FC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they've got a picture of their club badge and stuff like that. It's just absolutely, it's cowardly. It's absolutely cowardly. And yeah, as I said, I'm hoping that Regan Charles Cook can really have a positive impact tonight. Going to Aberdeen team, we've got Joe Lewis in goals, Ross McCrory, Scott Brown, who is known around Celtic parishes, Ramirez, Bejuian, can't say it's the new Dutch winger, Dylan McGeoch's in, Ojo, Hayes, Ferguson, Ramsey, and Bates. So in terms of that lineup there, it looks like perhaps it's Ramirez up top on his own with support from the new Dutch winger and probably Johnny Hayes. What's your thoughts on that, Graham?
Before I comment on it, I just want to say what you're talking about a minute ago. This thing with Regan Charles Cook, this thing is happening far too often. It needs to get stamped out. I don't know what possesses folk to go online and start thinking I'm going to abuse somebody online. It's absolute disgrace. These keyboard warriors, you know, they have to be punished for that kind of thing. And as you say, I hope Regan Charles Cook goes on to have a real good game tonight. I've got a lot of Aberdeen mates, and I'm really sorry, but for this, I hope Charles Cook has a really good game tonight, because this has happened far too often, and it's a disgrace. Going on Aberdeen, I think, you know, we've got Aberdeen people in our group chats and stuff, and, you know, Aberdeen have been such on poor form. And as I said earlier, you know, their away form is dreadful. I'm intrigued to see how the new boy from Holland does tonight. I think that's a really good signing for them. I've said before as well, I actually do like Ramirez, but he needs service. I think Dylan McGeoch, again, when he was at Hibs, he was a very good player. He's got a little bit of creativity. So I think he could be a massive play for them tonight. But they have to find a way of arresting that away form, because 2 away wins all season for a team like Aberdeen isn't good enough. I don't think if they lose tonight that Stephen Glass will be under massive pressure. I think Dave Cormack actually rates him quite highly. I think as well, for Aberdeen, the fact they didn't bring anyone else in that window yesterday was disappointing for them. I think they're looking to do a bit more business. But I think Aberdeen have to get a win tonight. They have to stop this away form and stop the rot. This is another hard game. But the way Ross Kent are playing just now, I just fancy Ross Kent to be at home.
Yeah, I know a few people will be asking as well, because I know young Adam Montgomery has went on loan from Celtic to Aberdeen. I know there's some Aberdeen fans that necessarily aren't enthused by that. Not against the player himself, but I think in terms of, you know, bringing through their own academy players as well, you know, which is an interesting point. I mean, in terms of yourself, Michael, can I ask you that as well? There's been some people talking about, and I've seen it on social media, that perhaps clubs within the top flight in Scotland shouldn't loan players to each other. What's your view on that? And, you know, or even perhaps even how do you hope that Montgomery gets on at Aberdeen?
Yeah, you know, I hope he progresses at Aberdeen, because let's face it, Aberdeen needs all the help they can get at the moment. As well, on the point that you make about the loan deal, I think I said in the group chat last week that I don't kind of like it as well. I suppose that's another podcast in itself sometimes. But like, I went along last week to the St Mirren Aberdeen game. Very disappointed with Aberdeen. Well, to be honest, it was a poor game, but St Mirren done enough to get the 3 points there. But you think back to when Aberdeen went to Ibrox at the beginning of the season and they got a point, and everybody kind of like wrote them off that night. You thought, well, yeah, they're going to kick on now and start picking up points. And I think they had like two wins after that, and then it's back to, you know, getting beat, and the form was kind of like out the window. So no, I mean, I fancy a Ross County win tonight as well. Just the fact that you don't know what kind of game that you're going to get up at Dingwall, a very tight park as well. And yeah, it would be good to see Charles Cook getting a few goals tonight as well.
Definitely. I think the thing for me, I'm going to probably make it another hat trick here. We'll also be picking the same teams. Again, maybe have to put a charity bet on or something, hoping that we get money for charity, because hopefully if it all comes in. But I'm looking at Aberdeen's bench. Obviously, Ramirez, I think, has been impressive. You're signing a guy from the second tier in Dutch football as well, who again, I don't doubt is probably a talent, but to ask him coming at a struggling Aberdeen team to be the impactful player, you're looking on the bench there, and you've got Montgomery there, who again, I believe from what the Aberdeen supporters in our group are saying, that he's probably going to get played further forward as a left winger, perhaps. So he might come and be an attacking threat. But apart from that, they've got J. Emmanuel Thomas, who again, he's probably not been utilised for me in terms of as a sort of target man, in terms of, you know, being able to link the plays almost like a number 10. You've got young Michael Ruth, who's had another sort of tumultuous loan spell at Falkirk, which hasn't went his way. His old gaffer from his Aberdeen youth team, Paul Sheeran, got sacked, took him there. And you've got Matt Kennedy, who's been kind of sitting in the stand at Pittodrie for the first half of the season. So I don't know in terms of who's going to come in and get them goals if they are like 1-0 behind. If, you know, Hungbo as well, who's been fantastic, and he's another one as well who, as much as Charles Cook's probably for me the star man, Hungbo is brilliant as well. So when you've got two wingers, they do say wingers blow hot and cold, but you only need one of them to be on form, and you're hoping it is one of them. Hoping it's Charles Cook, but
I think as well that sorry, I forgot to add. I think Stephen Glass is a very, 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 very lucky guy who's still been in a job.
Yeah, I do think that as well, and I think it's maybe because his loyalty with Dave Cormack. I think because Dave Cormack had that radio outburst earlier in the season as well, backing his man and whatever. I think it's almost his shown face. Because if he sacked him, it's kind of like, well, you're wrong. And after that window as well, I know there's many Dons fans not happy, but quick score prediction for me. I'll start then. Only fair is fair. I will go 2-0 Ross County. Right, 2-0. Graham, coming to you next. What do you think?
Oh, you're not sitting on the fence for this one, are you?
No.
I'm going to go my favourite score, and I'm going to go 2-1 Ross County.
2-1 Ross County. Right, mate, you're going to make it another hat-trick, do you think, Ross County? I think you said you're fancying them.
Well, I think you saw me writing down the score, didn't you? Because I put down 2-0 to Ross County as well.
Yeah, clean sweep here. We've got a few minutes, 7 minutes left before we can cut off, so we can watch the match. But we will touch upon a team you had mentioned there, St Mirren. St Mirren are playing Motherwell. Let me give you the team lineups here for St Mirren. Obviously, Jamie McGrath left on deadline day. He went down to Wigan. They did bring in Jordan Jones on loan from Wigan, maybe part of the deal. But let me see if I can get the team lineups. Let's see if he's starting. And he is. You've got Anwick in goals, Marcus Fraser, Joe Shaughnessy, Dunn, Tate, Power, Connor Ronan, Jay Henderson, Greg Kilty, Jordan Jones, and Eamon Brophy. Motherwell teams is Liam Kelly in goals, O'Donnell, Solholm, Mugabe, Jake Carroll, McGinley, Goss, Donnelly, Slattery, Shaw, and Van Veen. Graham, you seen Motherwell at the weekend against your team Hearts. What do you think about this game, and how do you see it going?
I actually thought Motherwell were the better side in the first half, to be honest. They were a bit lucky to go 1-0 down. I thought they had a couple of decent chances. You know, Van Veen had a really good chance put wide. They had another chance, I think, that Gordon saved. And I thought they were always in the game. I thought Hearts were a little bit fortunate to go on ahead at the break. second half, I think it was kind of the same with Motherwell equalised. I think it might be a different game, but as soon as Hearts got the second goal, the game was over. But I think I've been impressed with the job that Graham Alexander's done. I think losing Tony Watt was obviously a massive blow, but I think Van Veen is a very, very good player and he'll cause problems tonight. I think we kind of knew that McGrath was going to go. I think for St Mirren to lose him on the last day of the window was disappointing, but Connor Ronan's a really good player. I think Eamon Brofer up front could cause problems. And I think at home, St Mirren are a very, very difficult side to play against. I think St Mirren will win this by 1-0.
1-0. Jordan Jones, as we're saying, he's making his debut for St Mirren. Looking at it, I think Motherwell's team is quite defensive, and with the personnel they've got, obviously Celtic, Loney, Liam Shaw is starting for them, along with Donnelly, who used to be a centre-back, a midfield along with ex-Rangers Loney, Sean Goss, Slattery as well. Don't think is a kind of box-to-box midfielder, kind of more defensively minded. But Mike, how do you see that game going in Paisley?
I kind of echo what Graham's saying about, I was watching Motherwell at the beginning of the season and, they were on a good run of form. Tony Watt scored a few goals. In fact, they not got to Tynecastle in the early part of the season and they were on a good run of form and Hearts beat Motherwell 2-1. Am I right?
Yeah, it was a tight game. Yeah.
And that was a tight game as well. And I actually quite enjoyed Motherwell playing football because I think the week before, if the old memory's kind of gone a wee bit, but I'm sure that they were playing against Ross County at Fir Park and they beat them like 4-0 or something. But yeah, it's a totally different team when Tony Watt's away to United. Van Veen's a good kind of like goal scorer as well. Misses a hell of a lot of chances as well. So again, this is going to be a very kind of like tight game, this one as well. But you don't, again, it's a bit like Ross County. You don't know what you're going to get with St Mirren, especially at home as well. They put up a good performance a week against Celtic. Not a week last year now. See, my memory is going. And they got a crucial point out of that game. So, yeah, that should be a good game.
Yeah. In terms of score predictions, we'll quickly go around and give them. Graham, you're first. What do you think St Mirren Motherwell will be?
I'm going 1-0 St Mirren.
1-0 St Mirren. I will go 0-0. 0-0. Mike, over to you.
I will go for another Desmond, but I will go for 1 each.
1 each. Yeah, I think that could be a good shout with the attacking lineups. We've got a few minutes left, and certainly it's not the least game we're going to talk about, but as Livingston St Johnstone, I'm sure we'll mention it later on as well. Match striking goals, even after that goal, Easter Road went over him. Devlin, Fitzwater, Obalai, Penrice, Holt, Omiyonga, Pittman, Bailey, Forrest, and Anderson. For St Johnstone, they've got Clark, Brown, Cleary, Gordon, McCart, Booth, Crawford, Halberg, Butterfield, Hendry, and May. Again, quick, we've got a few minutes left, so come to yourself first. Graham, what do you see the score being here after hearing those lineups?
0-0.
No. another classic and enthralling game. Mike, what about yourself? Quick score prediction after hearing those teams.
That's it. Good night. I'll go for a cheeky 2-0 to Livingston.
Cheeky 2-0 to Livingston. Yeah, I think for me, I look at St Johnstone. I'm going to go with Livingston as well. I'm going to go 1-0 Livingston. I think St Johnstone are due to turn their form around, but after watching them against Hearts, they were awful. Like absolutely, like they're just a team I just don't really fancy. I think he needs to ditch the back three, but as I said, we'll see what the game transpires. This will be the one that ends up 5-4, and we'll have to talk about that most. You know what I mean? Like we'll have to talk about this at half time. We'll have to talk about it at full time. We'll probably hear David Martindale at Easter Road shouting for Livingston. You know what I mean? It'll be one of those games. But I'll go 1-0. a couple of things. We'll finish up with some comments. So people are asking, is Dave away to get that sniper sorted and get a hitman sorted over at Dens Park? Well, if Dave, we're expecting Dave back on at half-time in full time, but if he isn't on, he will be doing other things. And obviously, Scott, I know you are a massive Emmerdale fan. I say this every time I'm on. Thank you for staying with us. And again, a later start time as well, maybe throwing you off. You can watch it on catch-up, so come on. We're better than any Emmerdale, anything like that, any soap. But we'll be back in an hour's time. So get the game on, get your dinner, get whatever, a few beers, tea, coffee, whatever your tipple is, and come back to us, and hopefully we'll be seeing two happy Jambos and an entertained neutral and Mike. But we'll catch you at past.